Hey Vsauce, I'm Jake, and I've been playing a lot of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds, which reminded me of the fact that the original Legend of Zelda was the first console game with the ability to save your progress, thanks to an internal memory chip in the cartridge. And that got me thinking about how we create and store our own memories, and if there was a way to save them forever, to be able to revisit them and replay them like in a video game. Could we save in real life? The easiest way to capture a memory is by taking a photo of it. It brings you back to that moment, lets you relive it in your mind, but images can be manipulated or adjusted to change your recollection of it, or, in some cases, to change history. Nikolai Ezov was the head of the NKVD, a law enforcement agency during the Soviet Union. After falling out of favor with Joseph Stalin, he was secretly executed. His ashes were dumped in a mass grave, and Stalin had him airbrushed out of photographs, not only removing any association, but erasing him from history. Photo manipulation has also been used for much more subtle changes. Tobacco bowdlerization is when a government agency or publisher removes any sign of tobacco use in images or videos. Old copies of the book Goodnight Moon show illustrator Clement Hurd holding a cigarette, but new editions have removed it. Or if you were to buy an Abbey Road poster in the United States, you might notice that Paul McCartney is missing a cigarette. I tweeted recently about how the guns in E.T. were replaced with walkie-talkies for the 20th anniversary edition. And that is nothing new for movies to digitally change scenes to adjust what we remembered. How long until the people who remembered that Han Solo shot first in Star Wars are gone, leaving everyone to think that Greedo shot first? An easy way to keep your memory alive is by doing exactly that, staying alive. Just because your body dies doesn't mean your mind has to. In 1970, Dr. Robert White took the severed head of a monkey and transplanted it onto another monkey's headless body. It was able to smell, see, hear, taste, and eat, but was completely paralyzed from the neck down since they were unable to attach the monkey's spinal cord. It survived for a few days before dying. More recently, Dr. Sergio Canavero came up with a plan to do the first human head transplant complete with reconnected spine, for the low fee of $13 million. But then there's the problem of aging. Our minds would grow older, and as they deteriorate, we would need a way to record our memories. Using an MRI, scientists were able to capture the visual activity in the brain and reinterpret it as video. The video at the top was what the subject was being shown, and the three below it in green are the reconstructions. The researchers used 5,000 hours of random video from YouTube to build a reference library to try and reconstruct what the brain was seeing to what was actually being shown. And the idea of building a reference library so that a computer could visually represent what was happening in our minds mimics how we reconstruct our own memories. As the director David Lynch once said, "We only dream of images we already have inside of us." Similar to Pareidolia, where we see faces or forms in things that aren't, like this face on Mars, or this eggplant. There is even a subreddit dedicated to Pareidolia. It's easy to think of our memory like video files. We access it when we need it and we play it back exactly how it was. But our memories are reconstructions, not records. In essence, every memory you have is a memory of a memory. The more times you play that memory, the more little changes can occur. A great example of this is Patrick Liddell's YouTube video, where he uploaded, downloaded, and then re-uploaded the same video 1,000 times. By the end, it becomes something completely unrecognizable. And to a degree, this is what happens within our own minds. When these gaps are created, we fill them in with images we already have. We even construct memories for things that have never happened. Dr. Elizabeth Loftus conducted an experiment where subjects were given 4 descriptions of events by a family member that had happened in their lives. One of the stories was always about the subject being lost in a mall when they were younger, and that story was always false. But when presented with this fake story, over 25% of the subjects remembered it happening. Some were able to describe sights, sounds, and people that weren't even in the description they were given. They had created new details. And once these memories are inside of us, we believe them. They become infallible in our mind. The Door study is a fantastic example of how we miss things even if they're right in front of us. The person asking for directions is replaced by someone completely different, and the person helping doesn't even realize. If we can't even trust our own memories, then what can we use to accurately record and save them? In the great book Elephants on Acid and Other Bizarre Experiments, author Alex Bose talks about an experiment conducted that had fiber electrodes inserted into the vision processing center of a cat's brain. The cats were sat in front of a TV screen and software was able to decode the recorded information, turning it back into an image that closely resembled what the cat was watching. And while attaching electrodes to your brain is a little extreme compared to something like Google Glass, which can also record what your eye sees, there is still one problem. If we play back exactly what happened, we still have to use our memories of those events to recreate how it smelled, how it felt, and what it was like. Then there is the Assassin's Creed idea of passing down memories through DNA. MatPat made a great game theory episode on this topic where he mentions how scientists have been able to save data, like Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, in the form of DNA. But when it comes to our memories and our experiences, we might not be able to save them in real life the way you can in a video game. We might not even remember what we wanted to do in the first place. But that's what makes us who we are. Every experience we have, every memory is unique to us. Even if it was seen by multiple people, our interpretation, the way that we play it again and again in our minds, is ours, even if we might have missed a few details. In 24 seconds when this video ends, if you were immediately asked to describe me, would you mention that during this episode, my shirt changed colors? Or at the beginning of the video, how I had 2 earrings and an eyebrow ring and now have none? And as always, thanks for watching.